Always has to be a shot at somebody.
I know.
They're never clean.
They have to run. That's the only shot they have.
They do it for 82 games. We're about to find out.
He already has shown what he's capable of.
Did surprise me. I thought we were going to hang in there.
This makes me think that we do need to be humble.
I actually think you're the only one who deserved that. Sherrod Blakely in the house.
Jay-Z.
What's going on, buddy?
All guts. Gutsy win.
Yeah. They did it. Celtics did it.
Wow.
Rumbling, stumbling, bumbling. Down the finish line. Almost the tone of this show, Sherrod, was almost completely different.
Yeah.
Because, oh boy, the Celtics shut it down last 3 minutes of that game and just went, everything got bad. Joe would have gotten cooked for the inbound stuff at the end of the game. Thankfully, again, like grit, give it to them. It wasn't pretty, but they never stopped playing hard all the way through. And I do think that you can say that final defensive possession was like, I mean, it was great. They really locked it down there where Philly had a chance to win that game, and they end up going on and winning this one. Their third straight. Jimmy's prediction of the Emirates Cup victory could come true.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that you have to like about this game, and really the way that it was coming down to the end there. Philly has won pretty much every game in that manner this year. I think it would have been like their third or fourth win this year where they were down significant portions of the game and found a way to win. I thought the Celtics, this was one of those, it's cliche to say that it was a team effort, but my goodness, you look at Ugo, you look at Garza, you look at, Minot, and missed free throws, they are what they are, but he made a lot of really big plays defensively. There's so many guys that chipped into this. And then, Jalen, had just quiet, 30 and some change, and another, very efficient game scoring the ball. This was a good win. I mean, this was a team that had not lost a game up to this point. A team that, frankly, the Celtics felt they should have beat them in the opener, which I think they should have. So the Celtics are in a good place right now. They're playing really good basketball, doing a lot of the things that they said they were going to have to do to win. But the point that I think you just can't emphasize it enough is they're outworking teams. They're just playing harder for longer.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what saved them here, because execution was lacking. You're still not getting what you need. Certainly not from the outside, from guys like Pritchard and White. Pritchard was, did a good job hitting some of those middies there. You did feel like it was a little bit of fool's gold just in terms of the shots and the shot profile that they were getting here. The way they kind of, shot out. You get 68 points at the half, and really, 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 offense struggled a ton there late. And you do see certain things that are like problems they have to work around. You wanted Josh Minot to be in late in the game because you want his defense and you want his rebounding, but also he misses 3 shots in the last minutes, and then he misses 2 free throws, and that's kind of the give and the take there. You have, I thought Joe did a good job. Keita was really active and Keita was really good, but Keita started struggling a little bit with Embiid a little bit when Embiid was facing him up some, and he decided to mirror Embiid with the Tillman minutes, and it actually worked out in the end. So I'm going to give Joe, that's going to be a check in Joe's column there. But again, it was tough. Buckets were tough to come by there in the stretch there with that unit that they had out there. You've got both, Minot and Tillman out there for specific reasons, defensive reasons, to help you out. And they couldn't buy a bucket, and they got really, really lucky there at the end that they were able to pull this one out. But again, a win is a win is a win. They're now 3-3. Jimmy's prediction of the Celtics winning the Emirates Cup is on board. I've got all of my 100 grands that my full bars. Sometimes some of the neighborhoods we go to, Sherrod, full bars. I know, right? My daughters are on the lookout for these things. They're not easy to find, and I've got about 100 of them here. They hunt for me, and so everything's good right now. I got no complaints.
No, and neither should the Celtics. I mean, not only did they get the win, but again, you're starting to see a pattern with them as far as how that rotation is going to look. I mean, I know we talked a little bit about that earlier in the previous episodes, but it's really you start to see a consistent 8-9 guys that they can. I think they're going to slowly but surely turn to as their stay ready rotation. I think, and the one guy that I swear I don't know if we're going to fully appreciate all the little things that he can do as much as we should, but Hugo Gonzalez is good. I mean, he's just a good basketball player.
Yeah.
That does that don't show up in the stat sheet. I mean, he had that one, like, for example, something that he committed, and it may not seem like that big a deal, but if you're watching the game, when he committed that foul on Grimes, I don't know how he got there in time. That was a layup. And I don't care if Grimes made both free throws. The fact is, you did not concede the bucket. He worked his ass off, and and the fifth foul that he picked up when Embiid kicked him through the uprights. He's tough, man. I'm a huge Ugo fan, man. He's real.
Yeah, so that's the takeaway. Am I echoing through your side, Sherrod, a little bit?
No, I can hear you. Listen.
You're gonna like, if each game is about one thing, people aren't gonna remember the last 3 minutes of the game. Celtics almost blowing it. That terrific first quarter. Anything Jalen did, even though Jalen was again remarkably efficient, scoring the basketball again. This is the Hugo game. This is the Ugo game. Sorry. That's what you're gonna remember, because minutes have been a little bit harder to come by for him. He's had DNP CDs. And he's in there. And again, because of his limited offensive capabilities, you feel like, Minot's going to get those minutes over him a lot of the time. But Ugo was real. Though the bench really saved these guys here.
Yeah.
Simons, who didn't shoot well, ended up a plus 23. But Ugo, that's what you're going to remember from this game, is Ugo almost dying on the court, multiple times. I thought he separated his shoulder on one of them when he just went diving to the ground. It was terrifying. The block, he's just hitting the deck, but there is no stop. And it's not just, it's a real motor. When he went to the sideline, he's jacked up. After the game, he's jacked up. When Joe pulled him out of the game, he gives him a little slap and he slaps Joe back. Like is. I love that moment.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah,
that dive to the sideline was a very Dave Cowens flashback moment right there.
And that was his Cowens moment when he was fighting with the ball and it's going up his chin and he's getting it. That's what he was trying to do there. He's trying to have his Cowens moment. But I mean, that's not fake hustle. Okay, watch me dive. And I mean, his motor is unreal, and you want to see what he can come up with offensively, because I think he can help you in transition for sure, just because he's athletic. But that's the difference. And again, we talked about this last show here, Sherrod, is the athleticism. There's stuff that pop off the page here. 5 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. Here for him, he had 3 steals too late. That really, really, really helped at a time where you thought that Philly could have, had they gotten more buckets there down the stretch. He comes out late because, they kind of went back to their starting lineup minus Keita to close the game out. I didn't love it. I loved the energy he was bringing. I didn't want to see him go. Knocks down a 3 as well. It's still kind of a funky looking shot. He's got the 5 personal fouls, but man, is he getting a rookie whistle right now. And that's what happens when you're a rookie and you're extremely aggressive defender. You're going to get a bad whistle, and he did. But he was everywhere. Couple steals, couple assists, 5 rebounds, 2 on the offensive boards. Just good stuff throughout from Ugo. And again, this is the sweet spot for him right now until he develops a little more. You got to find a way to get his energy in the game for 10 to 15 minutes. And I think we got the clip from it, the one I was talking about with him leaving the game. What was this? Here he goes out. This is great. Little pat. He's like, good job, buddy. Yeah, right back at you, Joe. I love that. It's so good. So good. Thanks to Ahmed for queuing that up. We got Bobby and Noah at the game sending us that video. which was awesome. But yeah, it's the Ugo game. I love it. And it's like, I mean, I hate turning this into a referendum on Baylor Shireman. That poor guy might need to retire. He got in and then he got out and then he was taken out and then he played another minute and he was whatever. But it's, you need some young kids to hit. You need a first round pick to hit somewhere, and you got to feel good. I don't know what his ceiling is because offensively, but you got to really feel good about his makeup right now.
Yeah. And Shireman, and again, I think the biggest issue for him is that he's not doing enough to get more minutes than the couple of minutes that Joe was going to set aside for him. Like he had an open shot that he didn't knock down. Defensively, he's not locking up anybody, and he doesn't play with a great motor the way Ugo does. And so when you start looking at his body of work, I mean, he is what I would call part of that PRC crew, the passport ready crew, guys who are just basically a season away from having to probably play overseas because he's just not getting it done. And it comes at a time when they just drafted a kid who's younger than you, who's doing literally everything that they want from your position, minus the shot making. But you know what? They got enough guys on this team that can knock down shots.
Yeah, and Baylor's not one of them, and that's the problem.
Right.
Is if he could hit it, if he was hitting shots with some regularity, he'd find a place on here. But he's not really doing anything for you,
and that's the problem.
Joe doesn't like Joe clearly doesn't like what he's doing on the defensive end here because he's not able to stay in the game and earn his minutes. But again, I'm not doing this. This isn't going to be like let's cook Baylor any further game, but it really is interesting because I said it in the preseason. I was like, is Ugo going to take Baylor and Walsh? Is Ugo going to leap Baylor and Walsh in terms of rotation minutes? He did in like minute one. It's over. Like it's over.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more competitive than this, to be honest. I thought there'd be a little bit more back and forth. But the thing that Ugo is doing that I don't think any of us could have anticipated is the consistency that he's doing it. Like it's one thing guys have high energy games and play hard and do that, but he's done it every single game. And granted, we're talking about a relatively small sample size, but I come back to this. How many opportunities does he get to play? And what does he do with those opportunities? And every single opportunity he's got to get out on the floor, he's played hard. He has led the outworking of the opponent's movement for the Celtics every single game. He had that one play where he had the steal and on an inbounds, and then he kicked it out to Derek White, who missed a shot. Then he forced another turnover like 15, 20 seconds later. Little things like that you're not seeing anyone on this team doing but him. And that's what you want to do if you're a rookie. You want to find ways to stand out for all the right reasons so coach will keep calling your number. And that's exactly what's happening with Ugo.
Yeah. And again, it just it goes along with what the Celtics are doing in terms of the pace, trying to be athletic, trying to cause turnovers. And again, some of Philly's stuff was self-inflicted. But again, the Celtics this year, and this is something that they've decided that they're going to do, they're just trying to pressure you into making mistakes and making turnovers. Another 18 turnovers tonight for Philly. That was a huge part of the game. And, Ugo was in the mix there with a couple of those for sure. So it fits what they're trying to do. He very much fits what Joe's trying to do. And it's crazy. Like, I keep bringing it back to Baylor. We had him on the Garden Report. And again, I'd really like to see him succeed. We like talking with him when he came on the show. And also it's a first round pick and you want to hit with those things, even if it is late. And, it's difficult at that point in the draft to get anybody who's going to make a real impact. But he told us a story that Joe hates rookies. He's like, Joe told me he hates them. This level of trust and again, the clip we just showed you, this vibe, between Joe and Ugo right now, he loves this kid.
Yeah, I don't know if Ugo has made his way into the circle of trust, but he is in the orbit of trust in a way that Baylor is not even close to being.
Right.
So the whole I think the modification to that is Joe hates rookies who can't show me something that makes me not think of them as a rookie. The effort that Ugo plays with is very atypical of first year players. Most first-year players rely on whatever their talent or their athleticism in the case of Ugo, but that's not the case. He's relying on athleticism as well as just trying to make plays, using his basketball IQ, putting his imprint on games without necessarily having to have his number called or anything like that. Those are kind of things that really put you in good favor with your coaches, with your teammates. And, again, you don't want to keep, bashing, Baylor, but this is a competition between him, Jordan Wall, and Ugo. There's the legitimate competition. And right now, it's not even close. The 19-year-old rookie is the one that's winning that competition going away.
Yeah, and this is a good comment here from Tino Brown, 1780. Ugo is what Missoula would have been as an NBA player. Yeah, I could see that.
I can see that.
And you can see very much why Joe is super into that. We have a super chat I want to get to real quick. Adopt the Pacers play style, kill teams with numbering players. Again, this is clearly the philosophy that they want to do. And not just the Celtics. The Celtics are doing it out of necessity because they don't have the guys, they don't have the horses they had last year to just dictate whatever pace of play they wanted to and just beat guys just with the sheer force of will, just being better than they were. They have to do this almost like a gimmick, almost like some teams play zone defense, and do different things because they know we just go straight up. We just try to play you straight up.
You'll lose.
We're gonna struggle a lot of nights. So we've got to bring it. They're not the only team. I mean, everyone is really adopting this pace and space sort of, style of play, getting deep into your bench, lots of energy, picking up guys full court. And you saw the Pacers doing it. And it feels relentless, right? You never catch a break. You do go on those runs. And again, Philly did. They erased a 24-point lead in about a span of 10 minutes there. So that happened, but you just keep bringing it, like the Celtics did. And they forced turnovers. Philly couldn't ever take off with it or get into enough of a rhythm because the Celtics were disruptive enough with their style of play to make that, to be able to hang on for the win. Again, thank you very much for the super chat. We will let you guys know that, and I'll tell you right now, any super chats, if you do donate, we'll put the comment on the screen and we will talk to you about it. And talk about your comment, and the proceeds from any super chats go towards the hosts of the Garden Report. And we do really appreciate that. So thank you very much. Again, not necessary, but a nice gesture there as well. And if you want to donate, absolutely, we'll throw your comment up on the screen and talk about it. Before we move on, and we are going to hear from Bobby and Noah, we do want to let you guys know about our pals over at Prize Picks, and you see it on the screen right there. You know the deal. It's the #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. And this episode, like all episodes, are brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I, Sherrod, make decisions every day. A lot of mine are not great. But Prize Picks, if you're right, you can get paid. Don't miss the excitement this season, really any season, doesn't matter what sport. And again, this is the perfect storm of everything. You've got baseball, football, hockey, what's the other one that everybody likes? Basketball. That one, all going on at the same time. So you can check it out. You can mix and match players from different sports. I like to play it differently. I usually hone in on one game, pick players from one team or another. 2 to 6 players, more or less. You could win up to 2,000 times your cash. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. One of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return, it won't count as a loss. There's also flex plays. You can cash out early. A lot of other cool features. There's free squares all the time that you can insert into your lineup and just make it that much easier for your lineups to hit and make cash. So download that app today. Use code CLNS to get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app. Use code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Back at it now in terms of this game. And again, we mentioned it in passing, and even though it is the Ugo show, just in terms of that's what you're going to feel like, is a takeaway here of Ugo made a statement. He was everywhere. They're talking about him on the broadcast. It's Jaylen Brown again. The way he started this game was great. Definitely, I wouldn't say disappeared, just, he has to sub out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the minutes are, 32 minutes, pretty modest here for Brown. I know a lot of people in the chat are pointing at the turnovers. I don't care about turnovers if every other part of your game is this efficient.
Right.
If you're turning the ball over and shooting like crap and just compiling stats based on sheer volume, not great. He's right now the most efficient player in the NBA in terms of his scoring. And again, he's doing it in that old school way that he used to do with the midi. And he's still not 100% physically. He's not. He's doing this while 75, 80% of his explosiveness, right? He doesn't have it yet. And he's doing this. It's incredible.
And you see it, I think it's pretty consistent, but it really stands out when he's attacking the rim and he's just laying it up. Where we know, like he had a left-handed layup in this game where I can tell you right now, and I feel very confident that full 100% Jalen would have jammed that, would have tried to rip the bolts out of the rim on that, and he's just not doing that. He's just looking to be effective, be efficient, and I'm curious to see how his game is going to evolve or change or be tweaked when he gets to that point where he's at maybe 90, 95% help. Is he going to revert back to being that super aggressive, finishing with authority and power at the rim, or will he continue to be a guy that's very effective and efficient and just looking to just get his points and not necessarily, bring the house down in the process? But that's a great luxury for them to have if he can get back to being physically more, I think, just imposing his will on guys, because we don't even see Jalen, play as much bully ball as we're used to seeing him play. He's just finding cracks in the defense, exploiting those cracks, making the big plays, knocking down the shots that we've seen him knock down time and time again, elevating over guys. But there's still that level that we're used to seeing him at that he's not at yet, and yet he's still giving you damn near 30 points a night.
It's crazy. It's so efficient, and it's always that stuff that just kind of like, again, so much of that is in that mid range. But I don't, I'm no shot doctor. His 3-point percentage is ridiculous right now, and it's like this was brutally bad last year. I mean, and this hurt him a lot. The way that he was shooting it last year dropped to, I think a career low. 32-ish% after kind of, living in that 35, 36 range there. Just really, really bad. He was 46% coming into 47% from 3 coming into tonight's game, goes 3 for 5 again. So again, he's just striping it from 3, one super, super deep one as well. I don't know why. I hope it doesn't end because, I hope it's not fluky and this is a small sample size and he regresses to the mean, but like, getting that 3 back to being a legitimate weapon for him is a huge part of him being able to play the way that he's playing right now, because we know he can get the difficult buckets, and again, he's not even all the way physically where he needs to be. But so far, you can't really complain about much except for that one real crap 7 turnover game that you can't complain about a lot that Jalen has done this year.
No. I mean, the 2 things that he's doing, I think are really important is that statistically speaking, he's giving you what you need. And in terms of the eye test, the impact that he's making on games, it's clear that he is getting it done in that area as well. And as you pointed out, John, the only game that you just kind of cringe at like significantly was the 7 turnover game. That was just brutal.
Yeah, and then he had a lot of foul trouble versus New Orleans, and then sat because they blew their doors off. So that one wasn't. Right. He just couldn't put his imprint on it as much because he just wasn't out there as much as he could have been. Yeah. Right.
But I mean, he's doing all the things for the most part that you're looking for him to do this year. And you don't feel as though he's trying to do more than he should. It feels like he's figured out the appropriate level of aggression, attacking and things of that nature, and taking over the game when he needs to. I thought in this game, after the previous possession before he went to the free throw line, I don't believe he touched the ball in that previous possession, or if he did, he didn't hold on to it very long. And he has to be the guy in tight games, one possession games, that has the ball in his hands. He's earned the right to be the decision maker. When Peyton Pritchard got trapped there and they had to call a timeout, and then right after that, where Jalen had committed the foul after he lost control of the ball. They've got to clean little things like that up. And then I think one of the ways they can do that is just having the guys just frankly give them some help. And Derek White, and again, I'm not going to get on the Derek White bashing bandwagon, but Derek has not been as good as I expected him to be this year.
No, look, and there are legitimate who in the chat is listening to this and thinking this is somehow a negative Jaylen Brown segment? What is wrong with you people?
What?
Just they're so triggered. He's playing friggin' great. You can't
That's
please
all
anything. I got other people in here telling me that, like, and now on the other end, like, you're gonna ignore the turnover. Figure it out, you friggin' guys. My God. Yeah, look, I mean, you don't want that turnover late was not great, but they were in hell there. That the play before it with Joe sending Pritchard in the backcourt and just leaving him on an island there, put him in a bad spot, and then they just kind of forced it into a tough space, and Jalen turned it over. That's certainly not great, but on the whole, again, I can live with the turnovers when he's playing this efficiently. I don't really have that much of an issue with it.
Well, he's checking up damn near every box that you want him to check off night in, night out. So
yeah. But everybody wants to hear it. Everybody wants it. Everyone's he's gonna say something bad about Jalen. It's gonna be a backhanded compliment.
I know it's coming.
Jalen did good. He did good. Okay, he's good, guys. We want to tell you also we got a little situation going on here for you. For the Jaylen Brown super fans out there, you can win an autographed Jaylen Brown finals jersey. What? Yes, This is real. Yes, you can. If you go check it out, you go to our Celtics Instagram. If you follow us at Celtics CLNS, tag 3. It's got all the directions. I'm bad at this stuff. Ahmed sent me I can't even. This is something I can't really read through, but it's basically you got to tag 3 people. Winners are going to be announced November 12th, but it starts with following things here. You go to our Instagram. It'll give you all of the things you do. And again, follow us at Celtics CLNS on Instagram for all of the rules and stipulations for what you need to do to win this jersey. And it's a real deal. Jaylen Brown autographed jersey. Very, very cool. We're going to listen to Joe Mazzulla at the podium here after tonight's win over the 76ers. 109-108 NBA group stage, Emirates Cup, 1 down. I don't know how many more to go. But yeah, good start for the Celtics. Here's Joe.
Yeah, I mean, we just got to find ways to win in the NBA. It's a game of runs, so managing those runs, up 24 in the first half means nothing. And so just continuing to manage runs and know when to stop them, know how to execute them. And so I thought we did a great job in the second half of just playing regardless of the result of the last possession, whether it was offense or defense. So, I thought we had like 5 offensive rebounds on one possession and missed them, and then we sprinted back, So we just played with a great short-term memory onto the next play and fought like hell. So credit to them.
Joe, you talk about those runs. In this game in particular, what did they change, if anything, to allow them to go on those runs, and how did you see you guys respond to sort of like that operate?
Yeah, I mean, I thought in the second quarter, our offense just we just missed some good shots, and they got out in transition. They had 4 and 1s in transition in the second quarter, so obviously their speed, they're going to get some of that, but we can do a better job managing those, so yeah, the 4 and 1s in the second quarter, obviously, and then I thought once they tied the game and we brought it back to 7 at the end of the third, we regained our poise, but at the same time, I like that we operated kind of in the chaos, so but I thought that third quarter we managed it. I thought Philly obviously went on a good run there, and then it was just fourth quarter. It was good. It was fun.
And then X played most of his minutes in the fourth quarter. How did you see his role in sort of like stopping the bleeding, and also how he played on Joel?
Yeah, again, we're just we have depth to where we can go to different stuff, and so he's been great. He's been good on Embiid in the matchups that he's had, and he's just a guy that you trust. So I trust that whether you put him in the first half or in the fourth quarter with 2 seconds left, he's going to deliver just because of his experience, his care factor. So I thought he executed on both ends of the floor for us, and he just got a high level of trust in him.
How of going off that before the season, you said that not having a set rotation could be a strength.
Yeah.
Do you see that kind of playing out right now with guys like Ugo coming in?
Yeah.
Is that kind of how you envision this going?
Yeah, no question. I think there's obviously some of the guys do have one, but at the end of the day, you just got to be ready to be called upon at any moment and deliver. And it just creates that expectation and that mindset. So we're able to be, flexible in that, kind of take advantage of the different types of guys that we have. Also, most of those guys are fresh. So I thought Ugo made some big plays in the second half.
So they obviously came back and tied it, and Payton gets the offensive rebound, leads to the three. And that led to, there was several in that stretch when you were kind of holding them off. What do you think about how kind of rebounding was an asset?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's the same. Transition defense, rebounding, fouling, those three things lead to runs. So you have to manage those. You have to execute those at a high level. And so I thought our rebounding was better. Our offensive rebounding was better in the second half. I thought our defensive rebounding was better in the second half. I thought our transition defense was rebounding in the second half. So you're able to manage a lot of those things, and it always comes down to those three. So you got to be highly disciplined in them. I'm gonna do it again tomorrow.
What do you think overall of 0-3 starts of the season, work your way back to 3-3? The amount of progress you've made in the first 2 weeks here, how would you assess that?
Yeah, I mean, we've I think every game have showed more minutes of who we need to be on a consistent basis. First game was played good for 12 minutes, second game 24, third game 30, and then I think we've put together 36 or more, and we just got to continue to build an identity of what we want to be. It has to become just an every night thing, and you just got to chip away at it. So. I credit the guys. They have a great mentality, high care factor on wanting to win, wanting to do what it takes. So, that's usually a good recipe for long-term success.
There you have it, Joe Mazzulla. Just so calm and just liking the media and mellow and putting things in perspective. But again, he likes the chaos, and I think that's the point of this win is you can nitpick it and talk about what they didn't do. 41 points in the second half, blowing a 24-point lead, missing free throws late, scoring only 1 point in the last 3-something minutes of the game. Those are all bad. Those are bad. Those are types of things that lose you games. But they won the game, and they won it on the road. And that's got to tell you something. So, yeah, look, and that's the thing. Old Celtics, this is how things change. I talked about this on last show. The old Celtics win a game like this, you're pissed off. Guys, you can't do that. You're trying to win championships. The standard is higher. Can't do that. For this team, it's good job not coming to pieces because you almost did a million different ways and you still hung on to do it, which again is about as much as you're going to ask for from these guys.
Yeah, and that's to me why this team is so fun to watch, because you're hoping that they're going to be able to compete and within that win a few games. Whereas in the past, it wasn't about compete. That was a given. It was are they going to just simply bury this team that they're better than? And what we're seeing now is that, their teams are playing that they're as good or not they're not necessarily better than these teams, but they're finding ways to hold their own. And that to me, it's a combination of guys just playing harder, Joe doing a better job of coaching, and we're really working to figure out the combinations that work best to get this team over the hump. And again, they're playing really good basketball, and there's so many different factors that go into that. But whenever there's a team that's exceeding expectations, there's usually one or two guys who are just playing on a level that no one anticipated. And Ugo is one of those guys, for sure. And I frankly would put Anthony Simons in that category as well. Because remember, he was supposed to be a defensive turnstile out there, and he has been anything but that. Now, is he all NBA defense? Hell no. But he's not nearly as problematic at that end of the floor as I think many of us anticipated him being, based upon what he did in Portland and based upon his own words about how, he really hadn't tried to play defense. So this was and tonight was plus 23. You can't have that type of plus minus if all you're doing is taking shots. You've got to be doing something at the other end, at least as a group. You are. And so I think he's had a really good start to the season for the Celtics in a role that he's not familiar with, and that's coming off the bench. And again, another guy that's stepping up to help this team be far more competitive and potentially more successful than many expect him to be.
And so this will come down to it. And again, I don't know that it matters because ultimately it's how many minutes you play, and then oftentimes whether you close games or not. But the Peyton Pritchard question, people are freaking. Again, I think it's a really small sample size. However, I think there is genuine concern with a person like Pritchard. This was my concern level with the Celtics in general was that everyone being asked to do more than they're accustomed to doing. Like Josh Minot gets, yes, he's playing more than he's ever played, but he just gets to go be Josh Minot. Just go be crazy and defend and do whatever you can. You happen to catch a bucket on the way, that's cool, but not really what I'm paying you for. Just go rebound, play with energy, defense, run over. Ugo, when he gets out there, that's what he's expected to do. Keita, anything you're getting out of him is gravy. But Pritchard and White, the two guys struggling the most offensively right now, are guys who are being asked to provide more with less around them. So what you're going to start to question with guys like Pritchard and White is, was their offensive, if they continue to struggle, you might ask, is their offensive success, was it a byproduct of having so many players around them and other players who had so much gravity, like a Tatum? Pritchard was playing a lot of second unit minutes with Tatum on the floor. Is the added attention or having to do it against starters or being relied upon to do it much more so than you were before, where you could have, just leaned on other people? Is that part of the problem? I'm kind of leaning no, because I still think all of these looks are good. There's no reason Peyton Pritchard should be missing the shots, which is why I'm not worried. I'm a little more worried about Derek White. I don't love how he's playing right now. We'll put a poll in the chat here. You guys can vote on it. What you think, Simons versus Pritchard in terms of starting? I prefer it only for one reason, because we've already seen Pritchard be hugely successful coming off the bench. And Anthony Simons has been a starter his entire life, not because I think Simons is better or but what you've got when Pritchard's coming in, that kind of instant offense sort of situation. But you're kind of getting that from Simons now too. So it's ultimately, I think the shots just have to fall. I'm not super worried, but what's your level of concern right now with Pritchard? And do you care whether he starts or whether it's Simons?
I don't care. My level of concern with Pritchard isn't great, because I think for the most part, he's getting the same kind of looks that he was getting coming off the bench. And defensively,
it seems it.
Yeah. And defensively, I'm not seeing a major problem with him at that end of the floor either that is any different than in challenges that he's had in the past. Now Simons Derek White is a different story to me, because I think we sometimes forget that Derek White, when you start looking at his whole basketball journey, he's been a guy that has not really been like that go-to guy from day one. Like he wasn't anointed a great basketball player. He just worked his ass off to be a really good basketball player. And in the NBA, he's been a guy that pretty much everywhere he's been, there's been two or three guys that were better than him. And so he's never really had to assume to himself to be the best player or the second best player. He's been the benefactor of having really good players around him, where some nights he is the second best player on your floor because of he just has it going. But now you're seeing him in a clear and undeniable number two on your playlist role, and he hasn't been as good as he has been historically. He's missing shots that he normally makes. And I think it's even starting to seep into his defense. They had that sequence where he had back-to-back three-point attempts and he missed them both, and he didn't get back on defense, and the guy that he was supposed to be defending got a layup. Little things like that are making me very concerned that Derek, if anyone is the player who will benefit the most if a Jason Tatum return happens this season, almost instantaneous that he's going to come back and benefit.
Yeah, I think so too. And again, we've seen Derek go into these little bits of slumps. There's just certain things I'm seeing in White right now that he just looks off beyond the shot not falling, just in terms of some of his decision making, just certain things right now. It's just, there was a point in tonight's game, and I can't pinpoint it. I just wrote it down. I'm like, what? I was just thinking, like, what's he doing right now? So again, you're used to White being next to perfect, right? Like meaning sometimes the shot doesn't fall, but he's just all the right reads, all the right decisions, attacks when he needs to attack. Right now, it's a little bit disjointed for him offensively, I think. And again, this is the first game, I think. I don't know exactly, but I mean, he was averaging 11 threes a game. So him just toning it down a little bit here was maybe a little bit of self-awareness, which is like, I can't just be sitting back here and just bombing away. I got to find other ways to get myself involved in the offense. But definitely don't love the start with Derek White, but I'm also not super concerned about it. Again, if you want to put a sunny face on things, Celtics are 3-3. And White and Pritchard are shooting like crap. And these are the guys who you're not only you expect to shoot better than they're shooting, each person was expected to take a massive offensive leap this year. So I guess when you get 15, 20 games in, if you're still looking at these types of splits from these guys, you might start to wonder, all right, are they, were they better suited in the roles that they'd had before with Derek White as the third or fourth option instead of a 2 and Pritchard coming off the bench? Maybe, but not. I'm not anywhere close to it yet in terms of my level of concern. We talked about Hugo Gonzalez and all of his awesomeness. We're going to hear from him in just a little bit. We want to give another shout out to one of our sponsors here at the Garden Report, and that is Omaha Steaks. And yeah, Sherrod, I love putting this up here.
But that looks so good.
Yeah, it is good. But Omaha Steaks, check it out. Right now, there's a terrific site-wide sale going on, 50% off. And again, you can get not just, steaks, but they've got chicken, desserts, and you see it on the screen, 50% off site-wide. Beautiful certified tender steaks. Look at that, potatoes, desserts, burgers, all of it. You use the code Patriots at checkout, you get an extra $35 off. So again, it's 50% off the entire site plus that 35. So let's do the math. $200 box of steaks you want to send to yourself or as a present, which is actually one of the cool things because you can ship it ahead to the holidays if that's what you want to do and send it as a gift. It does make a great gift. $200 box of steaks, 50% off right there, down to 100 plus minus 35. That's $65 for $200 worth of product. You can't beat it there. So again, go to omahasteaks.com, use code Patriots at checkout for an additional $35 off. And again, it's 50% site-wide sale. And in some cases, an additional 20% off from there. So again, terrific sale. Go check it out. omahasteaks.com, code Patriots at checkout. We mentioned our boy Ugo was just crushing it tonight. Super, aggressive all over the floor, hitting the ground, made a 3, made his fingerprints were all over this win tonight. And you could tell Missoula was really impressed with the amount of trust that he put in him to be able to get in there and stay in there as he did tonight. Again, only 15 minutes, but you love to see it. This is Ugo in the locker room after the game.
How do you like this role where you're coming into the game to guard some of the best players? Like, did you expect that, and how do you feel like you're doing with it?
Well, I'm enjoying my role. Type of things that this coaching staff is asking me to do. I'm pretty happy with anything they got for me because they looking for team success and also looking for my own development. So anything they got for me, I'll take it.
You did that sometimes with Real, like Evan Fournier, some other guys over there. Like, when did you start doing that for them sometimes, and do you feel like that prepared you for this?
Well, when you're a young player, basic thing that they're gonna ask you in 99% of the times is that you're gonna be able to defend. And whenever you're open, take your shot with confidence, whatever. But that's the primary basis. And so if I want to get minutes in this team, I need to defend.
When you saw Quentin Grimes going toward the basket for a dunk, did you think you were going to catch him? Did you really care about that, or was it just hustling to get there, try to make a double swing?
Yeah, I mean, if I see somebody that is going to try to make a dunk in our basket, I'll go 100 times with the. I don't care the result. I'm not allowing, or we're not allowing easy baskets. If I got the opportunity,
here we go. Let them know, Hugo.
My hand,
no easy baskets.
When you checked out of the game, Joe kind of like patted you on the back and you patted him on the back. What was his message to you after that last play when you fouled?
Well, it was more like you did a great job, but obviously you gotta know that you gotta have always in every play, especially me, concentration. That was a bad foul. That's a foul that wasn't required for the time and the momentum of the game. So basically, just giving me a feedback and just cheering me up and getting me prepared just in the case I need to come back to the game.
When you have different minutes on different nights, how are you able to have the ability to come in and make the impact that you did here tonight?
Well, I think that's more like you just gotta be prepared. Sometimes the matchups and whatever they ask you to play more, to play less. You gotta be able to manage those type of situations. I think that it will be really selfish and if you think that you're gonna play, especially in my case right now, that I'm gonna play 35 minutes every single night. That wouldn't be the case right now. But you're gonna be able to do whatever they ask you. If they ask you to guard the best player, you gotta do it for the team. So basically.
Describe your emotions about the start of your career. Like, is it exciting? Like, are you feeling good about it? Like, how are you just kind of handling like the first week or two of your career?
I would say like it's something different than what I'm used to because of the timeline that we play today here. That tomorrow we play against Houston. You gotta change the chip, your mindset every single night because tomorrow you got a new game or 2 days away you got a new game. God bless if you got 2 free days. So that's basically it. But yeah, I mean, trying to adapt to this much amount of games, trying to build a routine and to allow my body always to perform the next day.
After the final buzzer sounded, you went over to Josh. Was that just because you didn't want him to be down about the free throws he missed? Like you went over, kind of swarmed him right after the buzzer?
Yeah, he did a hell of a job, and he's playing super good. I think he's one of the examples of the team on giving 100% every possession. So basically, just want to give him cheers up. We won the game, and he took a great part of winning the game with him. So just cheering him up as he will do for me too. So. All right.
And that's Ugo. Dude, I mean, again, between him and Minot, just in terms of just both their energy on the court, but the way they carry themselves off it, these guys are really easy to like. Ugo is the most mature 19-year-old who's ever lived. You know, like, I mean, it's he's just his honest, his poise. He really is an impressive kid right now at 19 years old. He doesn't feel like a kid. And again, you know, the international upbringing, of course, it's a little bit different, but you know, again, he's, you know, those guys who play over there in that league, they're playing with men. You know, you play for Real Madrid as an 18-year-old, you're playing with men, not boys, not kids, you know, and that toughens you up, man. And this kid is this, you know, I mean, you have a couple instant fan favorites on this team, and it makes this so much easier, right? Because I think, you know, if this was a slog of a year and you're watching your guys, you know, take a beating and Jalen's doing everything he can and he looks around and everybody sucks. Just basically, if the vibe of this season was what it was the first 3 games, you're just like, man, but you've got guys you can really root for. I think that matters a lot. I think Ugo being one, Minot being another. Keita's really easy to root for too. Yeah. And I like what I've seen for him as well. That helps a lot, you know, and it kind of gives you something to look forward to because you like these guys and you like what they're giving you.
Yeah, and the wild card and all that, John, is they can freaking play. They can actually play. And when you think about having a team that's competing at the highest of levels, they may not be starters, but you totally see those guys in your top 8, top 9. When you look at the things they do from an energy standpoint, when you look at the things they can do from a game-changing standpoint. You know, Minot, I mean, he's 6'7", 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan. You put a guy like that on Maxey, even when he gets beat, he's going to be able to contest shots. Hugo, the energy that he plays with. And Keita, I thought this was one of those games where Keita really made the most of the minutes he got out there. He only played like 19 minutes. But if you didn't know better, you thought he played more than that because of some of the things he was able to do in terms of impact and some of the stats that he was able to rack up.
Yeah, and I've neglected to mention him, and it's not fair. I'm not a huge Garza guy, but I can't again, can't complain about anything Garza's done here. He's playing his ass off too, and a lot of energy, and he's giving you what you need with his minutes as well. I was a little dubious the idea of him being basically your backup big here, but a couple of guys like again, I don't love, but between Garza and then the effort that you got out of Tillman tonight, hard to really argue with with anything that those guys have done as well. So I want to throw them into the mix also. They both definitely deserve props for the way they played tonight. And I was just pulling it up again. Tillman gets 13 minutes. I believe that was a season high there. Knocked down a 3. And again, Garza, a solid +5 in his minutes, 4 out of 5 field goals made en route to his, 9 or 10 points. He was good too. So you're getting good stuff out of these guys. And again, kind of shortening the bench a little. You get Ugo in there and he's playing, 10 guys tonight. It's not short, but Shireman gets in 2 for 3 minutes, but that doesn't really count. So Joe's pushing a lot of the right buttons right now in terms of who he's playing, when he's playing them, when he's riding them. And you get a sense of kind of, what things are going to look like with these guys. So, hats off there. We mentioned Anthony Simons as well. Didn't shoot the ball particularly well, but had a solid overall game, finishes a team high, +23 on the night with his minutes here. There's a lot of people wondering, should he be starting instead of Peyton Pritchard? We talked about it a little bit. Here's Simons after the game talking about his performance.
Anthony, you guys went up big in the first half and they made their run. What went into you guys sort of being able to bend, not break, and sort of hold out in that second half as they were getting hot?
I think it was just got the stops when we needed to, got some timely buckets, and that was more the story. They came back, credit to them, and we was able to sustain, their runs and get stops when we needed to.
Obviously, you probably just would like to stay up 25 the whole time, but what's the benefit maybe earlier in the season of having one of these where you have to figure it out and you got to push back from a run like that?
Yeah, just, basically a learning experience and, taking each and every game and learning from it. Obviously you don't want to lose that type of lead, but, sometimes you need those type of experiences as a team to understand time and possession or, just understand each other in those type of moments. And we got some new guys, and so, it's good to learn that type of thing. Obviously, coming out with the win is good. You want to lose it in that situation, but it's good that we came out with the win and still was able to gain, experience from that situation.
What's that process gone of continuing to fit? You've talked a lot about how you're trying to fit in with Jalen and Peyton and some of the guys here. Last couple games, how do you feel like you've gotten more comfortable with that?
Coach has been telling me to just be myself, be aggressive. I think tonight was probably the most aggressive I've ever been. It's just figuring out from there, just continuing to read the game and figure out what the game needs, and just being myself in the midst of that. So, I think the coach has been begging me to be more aggressive, and I think I was aggressive today. Just, hoping next time make a couple more shots.
What kind of things do they say to you? Because I think Joe was like, all right, I got to find some ways to get him more involved. Like, what have those conversations been like with them?
Just asking me what type of action do I like, and just reading the game. I think it's pretty much that simple. He put me in some high pick and roll situations, which I'm comfortable, being in for the most part, and we was able to get a couple good looks off of it, and just building that relationship with the bigs and everybody that's on the court, just getting comfortable with just running those actions and with everybody that's on the court.
You said in New Orleans that nobody was down when you guys were down 0-3 on the season. Now you guys have won 3 straight. Do you feel like there's more confidence around here, or was this just kind of where you guys felt like you could be as long as the pieces kind of came together?
Yeah, I think it's we always thought we were going to be in this position. We just thought that each and every game we were playing better for longer stretches, and I think, over the past couple games we've been playing for long stretches, and so that's what's been good for us, and it's been, getting us wins, I would think.
From what you've seen with this group, Joe obviously wants you guys to kind of thrive in chaotic situations. What is that about this group that you think makes you guys able to thrive with the personnel you have in those situations?
I think it's just the players that we have. We got a lot of guys that are, we're going to eat like a take to the plane. I think, the guys we got, they just are able to handle, those situations. Well, a lot of guys here have been a part of those high pressure situations, and I think it started in training camp where he, put us in high pressure situations in training camp, and we've been trying to, from then just build and gain a relationship through those moments like that.
Coming off the bench, how much of an adjustment has that been for you?
A little bit. I mean, it's an adjustment as a whole. So I mean, new team and trying to find your way through that and coming off the bench, like you used to, and you just gotta figure it out. I mean, it's fun. It's been fun though. I've been enjoying it, and each and every game, like I always say, it's a new challenge and a new way for me to be the best version of myself and try to help the team win.
Last question.
Joe had a bunch of you guys taking turns.
It really is interesting, and we're bringing in Noah here. It's so interesting listening to Simon's talk because it's really like he's played one way his entire life, and then he's like, oh, I'm supposed to do this instead. And he's like figuring it out in real time. He's just always been, the type of scorer that he's been, with no really regard of what's going on around him. It's like, my job is just to go out there and get buckets. And it's almost like he's had a governor on him, like keeping him from playing full tilt all the time. He's like, I don't know, this is the hardest I've ever played in my life. It's crazy. Like, almost like he never thought, it never occurred to him to do it before. But like, you see it happening. You see it with, it's not complete, Noah, but like that, the defensive effort is there. The way he's learning to play within an offense and not just get the ball and jack it up there. And again, the box score tonight's not going to be friendly for the, to try to make that point, because he did hoist 21 shots and wasn't very efficient, 7 for 21 shooting. But it is interesting how he's almost like relearning to play basketball coming over here in Boston.
Yeah, and I said from the beginning, for all the discussion around his defense, it really hasn't been that bad. Like, he's had his moments, but I don't think he's been a negative defender. So I've been impressed by him, and not a good shooting game tonight, but the plus 23 and 29 minutes, it kind of matches the eye test. Like, they looked better out when he was out there, especially because the offense got stagnant at times, and even when he didn't get it to go, he can create his own shot literally at any second. So he certainly helped them.
Yeah, and his ability to create shots, I think, is something we certainly expected. But there was the perception that ability wouldn't mask what his defensive deficiencies were, and as you pointed out, Noah, that just hasn't been an issue. He's been a solid defender, not spectacular, but solid. But when you have the kind of offensive game and the ability to score in so many different ways and different levels that he has, solid defender makes him a plus defender in my mind. When you look at what he can do offensively. And that's what they need. They need guys who, when they get on the floor, can be more of a positive impact player than obviously average or below. So he's doing his job. John, you're muted.
You're muted. Bobby, are you good? You're just kind of staring into the abyss down there. He is good. Okay. We spent an inordinate amount of time on Ugo, but that doesn't mean there's not more of an opportunity. And Sherrod might jump out because he's had his fill. So Sherrod, we'll say bye to you, and we'll keep it here with Bobby and Noah, guys. And let me Sherrod. Sherrod's got stuff. Look, we can talk about this game a million different ways. I think this best quarter they've played all year in that first quarter, both sides of the ball in terms of the energy and just, the shot making was phenomenal there. You can talk about them, losing a 24-point lead in 10 minutes. You can talk about the last 3 minutes of the game where they went ice cold, turning the ball over there. Joe's decisions about, the inbound play and kind of putting them in a weird position there late, not calling a timeout when Philly was pouring it on. All of those things would have been what we talked about if they lost, but they won, and it was a gritty win. But when you look back on this game, you're going to probably remember it as the Ugo game. This was the Ugo game. All right. That's how I look at it. This was the game where Ugo was the thing that you looked at and just said,
he's a nice element, right?
Just give us that. That is exactly what you need.
And you've made some good observations throughout the season, Noah, about how White, Brown, Pritchard, those guys are going to be part of the defensive pressure, right? Big parts of their defense as a whole, but they're also shouldering massive offensive loads too. So who can be guys who just focus on the defensive energy, who can spend time on the Maxis and Mitchells and those guys of the world, and let White, Brown, Pritchard get their break. And that's what his role has been, Ugo. That's what Josh Minot's role has been. He starts this game on Maxi, and he doesn't score until 7 minutes in. So it was Minot at the beginning. It was Ugo at the end. And it's nice, again, like we've talked about the last couple games here, to know what everybody's role is this soon. Again, John, we thought that the rotation would take months, if not all season, to set here. And I feel like 6 games in, we already have a pretty good idea of where everybody's playing, what everybody's doing in their minutes. Maybe closing lineups changed a couple times here. Tillman tonight and Garza at times. They've mixed and matched that unit a little bit. But through the course of the game, they know what they're doing in terms of who's playing and when right now.
I feel like Noah and I thought that they would shorten it sooner than later, and it feels like they have. It's just is Ugo
Not
part
short.
of this thing? Yeah, is Ugo
I
part of this
didn't
thing
think
or
they were
not?
going to shorten it. I just think things are still going to change. Like, I don't think Chris Boucher is going to be a DNP all year. Maybe he will, but I think there's still some flexibility with what remains. But it's at the end of the day, like, you do want to have Josh Minot on the starting lineup versus that fifth spot being open and different every single night. Like, at the beginning of the year, that was really a rotating spot. So I still think it's going to be a big rotation. Like, the 11 guys, everybody likes it. Like, I asked Joe about it post game. He said, that's kind of what they were going for. Jalen said it makes it more fun for the team to just have guys rotating in and out. It keeps everybody engaged. And you're seeing everybody's bringing in a different element to this team. So it's not even just to be like, oh, we're all equally mediocre. It's like there's in different moments. It makes sense to play different guys.
They might be equally mediocre, but again, each person brings
But they have
different
different
things.
strengths,
Yeah, like tonight, the Tillman is a great example of it. Like I don't know if Boucher's in the doghouse or if he's going to be in DNP forever. And there's lots of games Tillman's not going to get a single minute. But tonight, Joe recognized something that he saw in the way Keita was defending Embiid and didn't like it. So he mirrored Embiid's minutes with Tillman.
This is a weird Keita game. Yeah.
The rest of the way. Well, it was weird. In
Embiid
the beginning, he was playing him well. When Embiid started facing him up a little bit, I think it got a little worse for Keita.
Embiid was back tonight.
He was so active early and he was blocking shots, and I really liked what he got. But there's something there just in terms of the way he was defending Embiid didn't sit well with Joe. So he pulls the plug and he goes with Tillman. That was the right button to push tonight. I guess on the Ugo conversation, I just want to ask is, I agree, Noah. I think they are going to mix and match at the bottom there. You're going to have your 7, 8, and then guys 9, 10, 11, whether they go that deep or which guys they play. That might change up, I think, for sure. But I guess the question is Ugo going to be a victim of that, or should he be guaranteed some minutes every single night? Because I want to see it. Both in terms of in the development, but like
a night.
That's where he should be, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be around 15 minutes a night. Like, I don't think you're going to see him
Give
playing
me a break.
because do you have a problem?
Perfectly in line with your prediction, huh?
Well, he played 14:33 tonight, so what can I say? I watched preseason. I think at the end of the day, like, he still has his limitations. Like, he is
Give me a break.
offensive. Yeah, I don't know what you want. That's literally what he played today.
I know, it's just funny.
Not 16, not 13, not 18, 15.
Okay. I mean, he played 15 tonight, so that's what I'm going with.
Yeah.
But in any case, I think there are still limitations to what he can do offensively, that there are going to be moments where they might need Sam Hauser spacing. And even if Ugo can bring them a little bit more energy and defense, obviously, it's not going to be enough to keep him on the floor for 30 minutes. But the offense is also going to come around. Like, I haven't seen him be like this lost offensive player. His shot looks fine. He made his 3 tonight. And so I wouldn't be surprised if in a few months he's not like a big negative on the offensive end. That's the question. But I really do like how different guys are coming in at different moments, because Embiid is the kind of player where you have to be super disciplined to guard him. And Tillman is the more disciplined defender between Keita and Tillman. Keita has athletic advantages that Tillman doesn't have. But with Embiid, it's like you just have to be so laser focused on his tendencies and not fouling and doing those little things. And I think that was a really good substitution. So, yeah, and I thought Luka Garza's minutes were good too. Like, each of those guys are bringing a different element to the table. And Joe has been increasingly good at identifying like when the moment calls for Luka versus X versus Nimi.
Yeah, so far so good. And again, hats off to everybody for the contributions they made. The bench was huge in this game. We're looking at Garza's stat line right now. Yeah, I could live without Garza, and I just can't say anything bad about him right now. Like, he's just been, his minutes. He's giving you everything he's got, and you're getting productive minutes out of him. And so again, I think Joe's doing a pretty good job pushing the buttons here. I think it's, there's going to be times where you're just like, when they go cold, like they did when they blew that 24-point lead, and people will be like, Joe, come on, switch it up. This is a bad rotation. But again, it's a roster with limitations. There's always going to be something someone can't do on the floor, because these guys are not last year's team. I don't think you can be squeezing a lot more out of these guys right now than they are. Pretty much across the board.
Pretty amazing what they're getting from everybody up and down the lineup here. And again, just how quickly this thing has come together amazes me. And you heard Joe after the game, John. I couldn't get a good read on how he felt about this one because his comments were pretty plain and to the point.
I think he liked the chaos. I think he liked that they.
Simon's talked about that too, right? Noah, I know Adam asked him about like how they've prepared to thrive in this kind of environment, and this actually is the kind of game. They've positioned themselves to steal. Like Philly was more efficient than them in this one by far. More efficient on the fast break, more efficient in the half court. So how do you win this one? It's offensive rebounding. It's the 18 turnovers. It's all the frenetic stuff that they've done to begin this year. And, they got 1.2 points per possession off those offensive rebounds. It's just such a weapon right now.
But I'll ask you guys,
they're getting threes off of them. They're getting, putbacks, all of it.
Have you seen a period of time? And again, game of runs, blah, 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 all of this. But have you seen a period of time where you felt like this team's effort wasn't there through the first 6 games? Not 1 second, right?
You know what I said on press row today, and I don't know that this is true, but there was a moment in time where I was like, what if they had done this scheme with last year's team? Because
it wasn't happening.
I know. And it's tough because it's like those guys were older, but like still use your depth. But then at the end of the day, you still have like Drew Holiday and Jason Tatum and KP because this style of play.
John's mentioned it. Lamar Stevens of the world, the O'Shea. Like we've been waiting for those guys to get involved in different moments. Even Tillman, when he first got here, got buried pretty quickly. So yeah, they haven't tapped into that depth consistently to begin Joe's career.
That's the change in Joe. Joe does not trust people. It's meaning you got to check a lot of boxes for Joe to feel good about giving you time, right? But he doesn't have that luxury with this team. So you saw the tough love in the way that he coached and the things that he put emphasis on, and that that blow up that he had about the rebounding, and 5 guys who can rebound, 5 guys who can rebound. And he's clearly like, there's a couple things I need you guys to do, and that's all it is. Are you guys all right? You're being kicked out.
I think we're good.
No, good.
Okay. But he has to trust people that he might not necessarily have full trust in, because there's just he has no options at this point. I think that's a big change in the way he's done it. But the reason they didn't do this before, Noah, is I just don't think that's Joe's MO. He really wants to feel like the guys out there are going to do exactly what he wants them to do at all times. And getting in that circle of trust was really hard. Plus, also, I mean, just look how deep they ran. Like, you ran 9 deep once Cornette became a staple of what they were doing, not just a guy who might sneak in minutes. They were legit 9 deep every night. You didn't have an opportunity for a guy to step in and make an impact outside of that. With last year's team, unless injuries are shorthanded.
And Josh and Ugo both provide a dynamic that they didn't have last year. Like, as much as I love this style of play and I love the athleticism and the youth of it, like, they didn't really actually have those players. I think those two guys, and that's why Jalen said, I keep going back to this line because it just for some reason resonated with me. But they really could have used the Josh in previous years, and now you're kind of seeing that. I thought that he just plays with so much energy, and he's going to get better offensively. Like, he had some tough misses in the fourth quarter, but he really saved them at points too on the glass and just defensively. And then Ugo comes in and does the same thing. Like, it's really fun to watch, I have to say.
No, I said that last year. Minot's exactly the type of player that would have been huge for them last year. And again, it's hard not to notice what happened tonight. Like, that's exactly what happened. Is he's an imperfect player. He doesn't have a very polished offensive skill set. He misses 3 shots late. He misses 2 free throws.
I'm still
You're going to
reeling
find
from
yourself in
those
that position. Yeah, but
and
that you're going to find yourself in your position there, and you're going to lose some games probably because of situations like that. It didn't happen tonight, but like you would absolutely point to that and be like, well, that's what you've got with this lineup. It's an imperfect lineup. You got a guy out there, you got, people out there serving one purpose, but they can't do this other thing. And, you had Tillman
are you
out there
going
for his
offense
defense
or
on
defense
Embiid.
late?
Yeah, you're
Yep,
going offense or defense late.
tonight.
You got to pick your poison. Right.
Right. So when you have Tillman out there and when you have Minot out there, and we're still, 3 games into the experience of starting Minot, wondering, all right, is the shooting going to compromise what he's doing in other areas? And it hasn't yet. Down the stretch, he missed a 3. That's whatever. The 2 shots from inside, trying to dunk on Embiid and pull up from like the elbow on the baseline were tough. So those almost killed you. But on the other hand, Tillman hits 2 threes, a layup. So he made up for it in being able to take advantage of his opportunities. And that's what's going to happen on this team among the other guys outside of the main 3. Like, are you going to do enough across a multitude of guys to combine to, one overall effort out of that group? Because Minot was not good enough offensively in this one, but Tillman came through down the stretch. Simons was able to do enough in his role by putting up the volume. And that's why I didn't have a problem with how he shot, because they just needed volume out of that spot. Garza was good. Ugo, we mentioned. So there's enough there collectively, it looks like, to be able to put out a good effort off the bench. That's a lot of bench points up and down when you look at it. And obviously they dominated those bench minutes in this game. So it was interesting to see a bench that really struggled and really cost this team to begin the year actually decide this game in the other direction. Because Philly's starters outplayed Boston's starters, I thought, pretty decisively start to finish. The bench came through and won those minutes massively and flipped this game. And this was a hard game to win. I said coming into this week, can you win 2 out of Cavs, Philly, Houston? And they've done it already in the first 2 games here. So super impressed. I feel like we're sitting here so much further along with this team than we thought we might be at this point. So I'm impressed by that. And I texted you during the game, John, like, is it too soon to say like this team might actually be pretty good? Like, I'm blown away by the defense. The offense has had its ups and downs, but they're figuring out stuff that, like, this is just such a well-coached team. That's what you take away from watching them every night. Like, the coaching's just on it. And credit to Missoula.
No, I'll ask you. Was it too soon to say they were a bad team after 3 games? And is it too soon to say that they might not be a bad team after 6?
I think I feel about this team exactly how I thought I was going to feel heading into the season. And I don't think, like I always say, like, I'm not going to overreact to hot shooting the same way I don't want to overreact to cold shooting. But through 3 games, they did not look like a bad team. That's the thing. And I know everybody hates like the positivity shtick, but like they just didn't. They had a lot of good stretches of basketball and a lot of things that you could see were coming together, and they just didn't do it enough. Well,
here's the thing. Here's where I got stuck on that though, because like the Knicks game was so bad that you're like, uh-oh.
Not really though. They lost by 10. Like they came back.
But they lost by 28 and a quarter.
Yeah, but exactly. It was just one bad quarter. It wasn't like they looked completely lost against the Knicks from start to finish. They had some really good stretches against the Knicks. I rewatched that game 3 times for some reason. I forget why, but the more I sunk into that game, the more I was like, it was just a disastrous quarter. I'm not going to judge it.
It was, but I thought the Knicks played a bad game and still held them at arm's length the whole way through.
And that's the Knicks, right? So
to Bobby's, and the Knicks are now 2-3, by the way, and the Celtics are 3-3. But to Bobby's point, the Knicks game to me signified what I thought the team might be, which is just simply not enough talent to win some games. But that's proven wrong here over the last 3, which is there's enough if they continue to play this way.
You're coming around, John?
It's not always going to go their way, but there's enough. I was really dubious that you would get what you're getting out of Minot right now. I thought that was I thought there was a lot of blind faith being placed in things. We have to see it. And that was really more my thing is Minot's going to be great. Why? Because we watched him a little in the preseason. Like that could have translated to crap in the regular season. You don't know. You didn't really know what you were going to get out of a lot of guys. And so that's why I was dubious. here, but now you're seeing it in the regular season. And you're like, if they play this way, they can be competitive, and it's changed my thinking. It's at least in terms of that. From a talent perspective, I still think you're going to lose a lot of games. Simply, it's because the stuff that happened tonight, which is like, well, you got these guys out here, and they went ice cold, and they couldn't score in the final 5 minutes. Stuff like that's going to happen, and we're going to be like, well, that's who they are. So it hasn't gone away, but that's kind of it's definitely changed my thinking in terms of. I also was worried it was a little pie in the sky. We're going to play fast. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. I'm like, great, let's see it. They're doing it.
Well, let me backtrack real quick, because like the Knicks game was one thing, you mentioned that, but then to go into Detroit, play perfectly to start, blow it by looking like you can't rebound at all. Like that's where I'm like, okay, is there just not enough here, like in certain areas, to be able to win games? Like I think that was pretty natural coming out of that game. But in terms of the confidence you're talking about coming out of camp, and I don't know if this is how you felt about it, Noah, but to me, it was less about blind faith in a Minot, blind faith in a Keita, who I obviously had a lot of faith coming in with, but acknowledge hasn't played. A lot of guys just haven't played here. I think we both looked at the system. Like you saw it in camp, you heard about it, you saw them executed at times during the preseason. And that to me was going to make this better than the sum of the parts. Because the individual parts, the roster, Noah, you could not look at any guys on this roster coming in, Ugo, Josh, Keita, whoever, and say they're going to be great for any good reason.
We just didn't know. But that's the thing. That's why, like, I think earlier
it would be blind faith. There's not great evidence of it.
But it's also like the opposite of blind faith to just say this is the worst front court rotation in the NBA, because we just don't know yet. Like these are guys that haven't gotten those opportunities. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're learning, right?
I mean,
like,
you knew.
I didn't know that Josh Minot was going to be good. He didn't do much in Minnesota, and like now he's looking like a real player.
It was safer to assume it wouldn't be good because no one had been good before. It wasn't just like, it's not like rookies. Like, it's not like you've got like, a guy who was basically a red shirt rookie last year, like a Shireman, but had high potential and a high draft pick this year, and be like, let them work their way in. You had guys who were lower draft picks and or journeymen that were cobbled together based on that's what you could afford. You had a track record of what these guys are in the NBA. While they hadn't been given opportunities, one of the reasons they weren't given opportunities is because they weren't good enough to earn those opportunities. So it was easy to be like, damn, man, are you kidding me? Everybody else's castaways and retreads that were left at the end of free agency, that's going to work over here. That's why I thought it was blind faith.
Here's the way I look at it. The Celtics went out and got Josh Minot and Luka Garza 2 minutes into free agency. Those were the guys they wanted. They have a better ability to pick those guys than 90% of teams in the NBA. Like, that's just the reality. They do because of the organization. They do because of Brad Stevens and Joe Mazzulla and like having a championship pedigree. And they did because those guys knew there would be an opportunity in Boston. So it was a very lucrative place to go this summer. Like, I've talked to people around the league. They had their pick with those two players. And so we might look at it like, and they picked two guys that were DNPs last year.
But that was their pick out of minimum guys, Noah.
Yeah, but a lot of players want minimum guys, and a lot of teams want minimum guys, and they don't have the same selection. Like that's so I don't know Josh Minot's game. I'm the first person to admit that I did not know what to expect with this player. But I had a little bit of faith because this was who the Celtics wanted at the beginning of the offseason, like that, And Chris Boucher was in a different situation. But those two guys.
No, you're right. It's a good point.
But do you think, Noah, do you think that do you think that the Minots and Keitas and these guys are actually giving them the individual efforts that are exceeding those expectations, or are they just fitting into a system here that's getting the best out of these guys?
I mean, both, but Josh Minot is 3-0 as a starter on the Celtics team, and he's given them great stuff defensively. He's given them great stuff on the boards. And at the same time, you think you're seeing other guys. Luka Garza is giving them really good minutes. Like, I didn't know what to think about Luka Garza. I know he barely did anything in Minnesota, but you're seeing he's doing good stuff in his minutes. So that was the X factor. And I'm not going to pretend like I was an expert on these players, but just the fact that they were so high on them and they went out and got them. And then all we've heard from the beginning of camp is this camp has been like a boot camp and everybody's so bought in. And what I asked Joe about pregame is the same thing that Jalen said. And that's that they're seeing guys learning really, really quickly in the film room and immediately applying it to on the court.
I'll say that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Jalen brought that up on his own accord, and Jalen doesn't say things just because they're the politically correct thing to say, as we know. Like, he went out and said, I believe in these guys, because I asked him about it in Detroit, but I believe in these guys because they are we're seeing them learn things for the first time. They're young players, have never been in the NBA before, never gotten real rotation minutes. And like literally like that, they're going out and doing it. It's not a coincidence that that's what the Celtics have on the roster. They do their scouting, right? The front office is very intentional. They picked players that they thought were going to be sponges right away.
But do you feel like any of these guys are steals now?
Yeah, all these guys. I think these are all good minimum
All of them?
signings so far. I mean, the guys that I just mentioned. But I think the other piece of it is that there's a certain level of faith that I have in Jaylen Brown and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White as players to kind of like anchor that system. And the more you talk to these bench players, the more you get the idea that they have created this like system and this championship culture and this buy-in, and they're buying into it. And everybody's like thrilled to be in Boston, even though this isn't the year to be in Boston in theory, but you're seeing the way that guys are talking about it. Like I think Anthony Simons is 100% genuine when he talks about how much he's bought into his role and he's okay with coming off the bench and he wants to be the best player possible. Like if he's lying and he's just saying that, I will be stunned because he is completely selling it to me. This idea that he's just here to win.
And he's obviously in a different class than some of these other guys.
You're definitely not lucky. It's good that they got off the schneid and were able to win some, because all of that, a lot of what you're saying, Noah, a lot of teams say that the culture here, we're going to blah, 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 buy in. We like this guy. We targeted this guy. Like that's kind of the same everywhere. Like, so it's faith in the Celtics to do it better than everyone else, which I think is justified because from an organizational standpoint, they've been far more successful than most teams over the last 10, 15 years. So that's fair. But a lot of teams preach, we're going to play fast. We're going to play hard. We're here. The culture, I'm bought in, the tradition of this place and yada, yada. And the veterans who are there. Everywhere you go, everybody's saying that roughly against what they're saying. It's just, you got to see it for a little bit in order to be able to believe it there. Yeah. And so right now through 6 games, I believe it way more than I would have to start the year. My default position was, I'm not buying it just because they're saying it. You have to see some. And right now I like it because, again, the energy, the athleticism, the buy-in, and that's why I asked the question earlier, was there a moment anywhere in these 6 games where you're like, they just stopped focusing or trying? No, they have lapses, but they're trying their asses off.
It's mistakes with effort, as Joe calls it.
They beat the crap out of the Cavs just simply by just playing harder every second of the game, and Cleveland didn't want to play that hard. They weren't ready for that level of intensity.
Guys that are fighting for their lives. That's what's cool about this. That's why I love watching this team right now, because every one of these guys is fighting for their spot in the NBA, basically. So how could you be Josh Minot and come in and be passive, right? Like, it's different than in previous years where it's like your 9th year winning 55 games and, you know, maybe you'll take a night off in November.
I think you make a good point too on how quickly they've acclimated. Like, I think that's a bigger factor here than maybe any of the individual efforts that they're giving off here. Because I still don't look at like the minimum guys, especially across the board, that they brought in and say that they found like some unsung talent or something that was underrated there. Like, I think they've fit them into a system that suits all of their strengths. And to their credit, they've done it quickly. I agree with that. But I'm not ready to look at Minot yet after 0 for 5 and 2 points and say that like they might have maximized on a minimum value here, but I still think 3 games in, it's a little soon to say that like he's a huge steal or something like that. Maybe he will be, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah. A couple questions for you guys before we wrap it up here. Noah, again, I know you've been tracking this because it's your guy, and you were tweeting Pritchard's efficiency from 2-point, and once he gets that 3-pointer going. But again, he didn't. And I said it earlier in the show. I'm not worried because they're good looks, but it's getting gross right now in terms of the shooting, almost inexplicable at this point. What do you think is going on? Just a bad stretch?
I think he's really in his head. This reminds me, I went back to look at the beginning of 2023, that the championship season, and he was in kind of a similar slump, except, a much less proven player at the time. Like, it is kind of wild, like 1 for 9 in this one. Like, I don't know exactly what the solve is. And in a way, it's kind of this weird tension because I kept thinking to myself, like, maybe don't even shoot these threes because you're you're getting really good looks inside. But at the same time, if you're a shooter, you can't just be like, okay, I've had 6 bad games. Like, I'm not going to shoot from the outside anymore. So I don't know what the solution is, but he's finding ways to be effective outside of that. And so long as the 3-point shot comes around, which again, like, I don't have any reason to think it's not going to, because this isn't like a 19-year-old where I'm not sure about his 3-point shooting. Like, we know he's a good 3-point shooter. So I don't know. It's, it happens. It happened to many players on this team over the years. And both him and a little bit Derek, I mean, to a slightly lesser extent, but I think he was really in his head tonight too. Just as far as like visibly getting frustrated at misses and things like that. Like, I have to think those guys' shots are going to come around. Like, I'm not seeing anything that's making me think it's not going to. And this team's going to be better. And Jalen brought that up postgame too, that like when Derek gets going, it's going to be a different team too. So I don't know. I don't react to shooting slumps unless it's an unproven shooter, or it's been like 4 months where now it's like, this is just a shooting season.
Let's flip it a little bit. As inexplicable as Pritchard's cold start has been, and Derek White, to a lesser degree, but certainly he has not gotten off to a good start overall offensively, not just from 3. Jaylen Brown, I'm not a shot doctor, but again, the level of efficiency that he's playing with is off the charts. And again, 4 of 7 from 3 is basically 50% from 3 this year. What's going on here? And again, we can all agree he's still not 100% physically. Yeah.
He confirmed exactly what I thought was going on. So I was excited by his answer today. I asked him about his 3-point shooting. He's shooting 47% from 3 this year. Obviously, it's not going to be 47%. It's going to go down. But he's looking for his 3-point shot now, like aggressively so, because it's actually a good look for them, because there's not 6 37% 3-point shooters on the team anymore, the way there was in previous seasons. And with that comes like just a level of confidence that you're shooting the ball with. And not to make it about myself, but I have this all the time where when I play with like my dad and really good shooters, I'm not looking for my shot and suddenly I suck at shooting. And when I'm playing with guys that I'm like, actually, like, this is a good shot for our team, you actually like shoot different. And I saw that in him. I didn't want to like lead him there when I asked the question, but it's exactly what he said, is that he didn't change like mechanics, but he's changing his approach. And it's just making it easier for him to shoot threes when that's a good shot now, not just like, I guess I got to shoot this one because I'm open, because they're leaving me open.
Yep. Yeah.
The Noah theory.
Amazing. I like it. I like it. It's
yeah.
great.
I love the looks he's creating for himself, and it's pretty amazing too, because he's taking the pressure of the defense. Like, they're keying in on him, they're trying to stop him, they're trying to frustrate him and force him to turn over and all that. And I feel like he's handling it pretty well. As far as Pritchard goes, I do have him at 3 for 19 on wide open coming into tonight. So it is a lot of wide open looks. I got to look at tonight's too here, but it is weird. And it's extending a little longer here. You make a good point, Noah, that he's opened the season like this before. So I don't really know what to say about it. It's weird. He's doing other stuff. The pick and roll numbers are really good for him so far. The spot up numbers are pretty bad. So he's just missing shots. Even in isolation, too. The thing I really like about the start to his season is that bump move. He keeps pulling out against guys, just banging a guy out of the way, creating space in that mid-range spot.
I love it. I'm trying to show that to my daughter right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing it over and over.
I'm like, watch, because she's smaller. I'm like, watch Pritchard. I was like, dude, you got to do this little shimmy. Give him the shoulder, turn it around, drop it right there. But yeah, it's I liked what he was doing. I'm not worried about Pritchard at all. I'm not necessarily worried about White, but I do want to see a little bit more out of him. And again, you got to like everything that you're getting out of the bench so far as well. Did they give you guys any Halloween candy in the press room? No. Did you have your first candy?
If it wasn't for your skeleton, no. If it wasn't for your skeleton, I honestly would have forgotten it's Halloween.
Oh my God!
Noah got her Halloween gift though. Huge salad bar.
But this was such a good pregame meal. Free salad bar.
The biggest salad bar you've ever seen.
Yeah. Good stuff.
So that was Noah's Halloween.
That's what Noah does on Halloween. Salad.
Giant salad.
So sad.
Cucumbers.
Anyway.
Carrots. Artichokes.
By the way, we ran a poll. Several hundred votes. Who should start, Pritchard or Simons? Dead split right now. So
Unreal.
Again, it will continue. It will continue on. Judah, happy birthday. Where you been? I think you missed the first few games. You came in guns blazing today, though. I like that. Happy birthday, Judah. And thank you to everybody
Let me say real quick with Pritchard too.
Who watches the show? Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
There was a stretch in there. I'm trying to pull it up quick, but I think the Sixers had tied it, and he got an offensive rebound, a steal on consecutive possessions, and that pretty much pulled the Celtics out of trouble there. So, he was missing shots all game. Really had a rough stretch in the fourth too, putting the ball in the basket. But this is like the Tatum conversation we had a million times last year and in other seasons too, right? Like he's missing everything, but he's doing all the other stuff. The defense has been good. It's hard, and I kept mentioning it to Noah because like I'm on the edge of agreeing with some of the Simons people, but I can't get there with how good the numbers look for the starters overall to begin this year, and when Pritchard and others are out there, and that he's doing all this other stuff too. Like I don't think you can bench him just because he's missing threes right now. I know, he started this game, 4 for 4 on twos. So he was hitting those.
I said this earlier to Sherrod, and I don't want to have the whole conversation again. My only, reason for potentially swapping the starting lineup is because Pritchard is the 6th man of the year and was so effective coming off the bench last year. And, you wonder, it's like, does that suit him better just psychologically coming in and being the instant offense microwave guy and go, as opposed to whatever responsibilities he feels he has in the starting lineup and how that changes? I don't know. If there's any mental component to what's going on, or as Noah said, he's pressing, maybe it frees his mind a little bit to be doing that. But I'd also be afraid to do it because it might feel like a failure to be moved from the starting lineup in the year you're supposed to step up and take that leap, and you jump in, and after 6 games they're like, why don't you go back to doing that?
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a little bit of a hit
Joe's
for him.
just,
So
how Joe is.
I
with
don't
the
want to do that
mentality
and mess with his. Go ahead, Noah.
No, I was gonna just say I do think that his shooting slump is mental, like completely. Maybe a story on that soon, but I won't. I'll just tease that for now. But I do think that's what it is. And so the question is moving him to the bench gonna put him mentally in the right headspace of like, okay, this is what I'm used to, or is it gonna be like,
or
you had a shooting slump for 2 weeks, therefore you lost the spot that we've been planning on having you have all year? Because I think he knew going into the season that he was going to be the starting point guard. So yeah, I just think at this point it's premature. And if it was impacting other aspects of his game, like one of the things that Joe said postgame is that he was really pleased with how guys were moving on from missed plays. Like they were missing threes and it wasn't impacting their defense. And I think for him specifically this year, I've really noticed that because he can be very expressive, but it has not affected other aspects of his game when he's missing shots. So that is, that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I know everybody thinks I'm like super defensive of him. I'm really not. I just think he's a good basketball player. And I think that he's played good basketball this season. But he's been in an abysmal shooting slump, and it hasn't necessarily caught. I mean, these last few games are still winning. So
couple of shouts out.
You can advocate for Pritchard. I got Simons back.
It's not even that though. It's like Simons took way more shots than him today. It's not even about like I think people are overdue the bench starting thing.
Yeah. Shout out. Jimmy Toscano couldn't be here today because he's hanging out. Look at Jimmy at the Boston Public Library, a cool little Halloween gala that they've got there. Jimmy,
black tie, black suit,
zombie makeup, doing his thing, hanging out. So hats off. He did check in on the show to make sure that we were doing okay. So Jimmy will be back for the next one tomorrow night. We also want to tell you once again, go to our IG for instructions on a Jaylen Brown autographed finals jersey. It is a giveaway. Everything you have to do is there. You just got to follow us on Instagram. All the instructions are there. Follow along and enter your name into basically a raffle with a chance to win a free Jaylen Brown autographed finals jersey. Shouts out once again to our sponsors here at the Garden Report. Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in all of North America. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy. Download the app today. Code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the Prize Picks app. Code CLNS. Get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And also shout out Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com if you want to order for now or for the holidays, a box of steaks. It's not just steaks, chicken, desserts, all sorts of sides, burgers. 50% site-wide sale going on right now. Terms apply, with some items having an extra 20% off plus $35 off. That's a pretty significant discount. 35 additional dollars off when you use the code Patriots at checkout. So once again, omahasteaks.com, code Patriots at checkout for extra $35 off. Guys, closing thoughts here as the Celtics win their third straight to improve to 3-3. All is right. All is well. The Celtics might be good. All of those doomer takes from earlier, we can put them away. What do you guys have to say to close?
I got one more in the backcourt.
Noah, if you were Noah, I have one question for you before we close, but go ahead, Bobby. Go.
One more defend the backcourt, guys, because they've been shooting pretty rough. 26 assists, 7 turnovers for White, 35 assists, 7 turnovers for Pritchard, and then 10 assists, 8 turnovers for Simon. So they're at least handling the ball control, because Jalen's 25-23 right now. That's been pretty rough, but those 3 guys have come through in that department, so credit to them there.
Yep. No, anything? No, you're good. All right, let me ask you this question. If you were to have tried a single
she was about to say something.
Hold on. If you were to have tried a single Halloween candy in your life, which one would you have tried?
I feel like I did try one since we last spoke about this, John.
Oh, really?
I think so.
You can't remember?
I can't remember. I don't think I would like candy, but I think I would like enough. Do you want to know my favorite vegetable?
No, come on. I did not put that up.
I don't know who put that there.
I've been sabotaged. It's Amit in the background. He's a joker. No, for real.
Wouldn't that be funny? Wouldn't this be funny if I was actually like a huge candy person and I just made this up? There was actually a mayor, Eric Adams, pretended to be vegan, and then they found out that he was eating meat every night.
He pretended?
Yeah, he wasn't vegan.
That was
he did a lot of stuff. I didn't know that was on the list.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff.
That was also in Scott Pilgrim Saves the World. One of the guys was vegan, but he was eating gelato, and different things like that. Ice cream. Got busted.
I pretended to be vegan.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been vegan for more than 2 hours, but if you had to eat, which is the one you would eye in that bowl and say, I'm going for it.
Like if they could do like a vegan Kit Kat or like a vegan Reese's, which they can do, that would be the one for me.
Yeah.
Reese's?
Okay.
I like it.
Reese's. So the peanut butter situation.
I love peanut butter. So
chocolate is a plant without the milk, and peanut butter. I think we can get that done.
Dark chocolate? You can get that with no milk, right? You can right? Maybe
I love
do something.
chocolate.
It'd be really bitter though. But yeah, anyway, we can make it happen. Okay.
What's
Thank you
yours,
guys. It's right here, buddy. It's right here. This guy. The $100,000.
$100,000.
I'm all about the $100,000. I send my daughters on this mission every Halloween, and they have to get as many as they can. If anybody's giving these out, they have to take as many as they're allowed. And one of my daughters came through huge for me tonight. My cup runneth over with $100,000. So very exciting.
One more quick
Twizzlers
note
is objectively the worst. No. We're gonna move on. I'm tired. I'm done. Can you guys just talk about it and just text me?
I'm just saying, Rockets tomorrow. They're rested. They scored 130 last 2 games. Be very interested to see how the Celtics.
JD Davis in a revenge game.
Oh yeah.
JD might play the game.
Has he gotten any minutes? No.
But his Instagram story was in Boston today, which reminded me that I gotta write a JD Davison story tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, check it out.
7 minutes, 3 points last game.
Thank you guys again for joining us here on the Garden Report. Celtics, as we said, improved to 3-3. Happy Halloween to all those who celebrate. I hope you had a good Halloween. I hope that those of you who took your kiddos out had a good time. It was fun for me. Glad to be able to join the show. We will be back tomorrow. You're going to get a special guest appearance from Mr. Boomer himself, El Presidente, Nick Gelso, is going to be appearing on the Garden Report with Jimmy Toscano. So make sure that you check that out. Until then, we will see you later.